Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show where a man completely immersed in anime culture torments his co-host, who is only allowed to watch the shows featured here. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/animeoutofcontext. Alongside over 100 hours of exclusive bonus material, all episodes uploaded to Patreon are completely ad-free, even to non-patrons. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And I just can't stop thinking about my co-host.
I'm Shaun Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
Hey Remington, you know what time it is?
I mean, in the literal sense, I do.
I'm late for a stream. You know, that's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. But no, Remington, it's Pride Month.
It is. At the time of uploading.
This episode will go live on the 1st of June, which means it's Pride Month.
I did see that our lovely fans gave you a heads up so that you'd actually be prepared for once.
Yeah, well, joke's on them. I actually already was prepared for this one.
Oh, shit? All right.
Yeah.
Well, bring out your yams and let's get going.
Yep, because Remington, this year for Pride Month, last year was a clusterfuck.
Yes.
Yes. Because everything I did last year was 100% viewer recommendations. And I thought I was going to be a great success.
And it was less so.
Yeah, no. We only kind of succeeded when I went super niche near the end, found one of my least requested ones in the category, watched it and thought, hey, this is pretty good. Let's hope this works.
Yeah.
That was a stressful time for me because as two straight white guys with a podcast, we have to be, the best allies we can be.
For sure.
Yes. And with that in mind, I thought to myself, well, if I do the same thing I did last year, it's going to be the exact same result. So instead, this month, we are going to be focusing primarily on, Pride Month-centric material, that being the LGBTQ plus community.
Yep.
But rather than focusing on only trying to give you the best stuff I can, or trying to focus on heavily requested viewer recommendations, I'm going to just do what I can to give you a very mixed bag of things.
Oh yeah, good variety, represent diversity up in this bitch.
Yep. Of course, that doesn't always mean it's going to be good.
Hey man, that's the nature of the beast, all right? Especially when you have me around. Like, I love to see some dope representation and different kinds of stories being told that does not automatically equate to me liking them or thinking they're well done.
That is true.
Look, representation ain't a get out of jail free card. It's just not. It's nice to have. It's not gonna do everything for you, unlike what a lot of companies seem to think.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna go into any of these episodes this month with like the raw, pure assumption that this is going to be the best thing ever to make everybody happy. And we're going to try and cover like a variety of different genres targeted in that general direction. And a lot of people, like the first anime I have for you today, Remington, is kind of a weird one. Because I wouldn't directly call it a BL anime.
Okay.
But at the same time, if you just change one word that a character said, or shifted things slightly in one direction or another, my god, this is like the most edgy BL anime I have ever seen.
It's actually just Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is what we're
Yes,
watching.
actually. The gay one, for those who don't know.
Hey, it's the director didn't even catch the homoerotic subtext. I don't know what you're talking about.
No. It was completely unintentional. Which is why everybody calls it the gay one. Which, by the way, watch that. It's great.
It's good. It's a good one.
Yeah. The other Nightmare movies, maybe not. 1 and 2 are pretty great.
3 is dope.
3's okay. 3's pretty good, yeah. It's just been a while since I've seen it. It's just, my mind is clouded by everything after 3. So 3 being that turning point is where it gets a little foggy for me. But we're not here to talk about that, though that'd be a hell of a twist for like the last episode of Pride Month. We just watched Nightmare 2.
That would be pretty good.
Like pull my own little April Fools,
Yeah, I mean, if we were doing classic April Fool's styles, that would have been fucking beautiful. It would have been masterful.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, maybe it'll be good for like a Pride Month's day rather than April Fool's, where you just
Who knows?
randomly we do something a little queerer than normal,
Yeah.
But no. Today, Remington, the anime we're going to be talking about, like, the title alone, like, gives those vibes.
All right, let's hear it.
The show we're going to be watching today is Atarashi Joshi wa do Tennen, which means nothing to you.
Yes, I can feel the subtext.
The English translation is My New Boss is Goofy.
Yeah?
Yeah. And no, it's not Goofy of Kingdom Hearts fame.
From Kingdom Hearts fame. You goddamn weeb.
This is an anime podcast. We have to appeal to the demographic, Rem.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. I have comments. Just keep going. I need to recover.
Zora! Oh, God. Yeah, no. My New Boss is Goofy. It's a pretty straightforward slice of life office comedy show that explicitly says there's no romance in this show. But it is an all-male cast, all-adult male cast in an office environment where all members of the cast interact with and get very close to one another.
Just fellas being fellas. Guys being dudes.
Yep. And that's the straightforward premise. It's primarily about the main character, Kentaro Momose, and he's 26 years old. It says a lot when they're adding ages into the mix.
Yeah.
And look, man, it claims it's not a BL. It claims it's not yaoi, but the vibes are there, I feel. And that's what a lot of people are saying about it. Like, and if I'm incorrect, please, as always, I'm a straight white guy. I may not be the best at gauging these things.
Shaun, if you're incorrect, you won't have to wait for viewer feedback. You'll hear about it in part 2 from me.
Yeah, hey, that's true. That's true. But it's about Kentaro. He is a 26-year-old office worker and developed a lot of health problems due to his boss, being what bosses are a lot of times, horribly abusive.
Oh, all right. That's okay.
Yep.
How goofy. Some real
that's his old boss, Rem.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, my new boss is Goofy. That's
Yep. Okay, I thought we were gonna go weird out where it was like, oh man, my boss is so goofy. He beats the shit out of me on the daily. Yeah. Wage theft runs rampant. It's so silly.
Yeah. But yeah, he essentially switches things up a bit and has a new boss, 34-year-old Yusei Shirosaki.
Okay.
And it is quite frankly just the story of this guy recovering from his situation in a new environment and a new fairly silly boss who, by all accounts, is a great boss and is doing everything he can to make his subordinates as healthy and happy as possible.
Okay.
Though he is a bit weird and a bit eccentric,
You might say goofy.
You might say goofy. Though there is no door to darkness as far as I'm concerned, Could be a season
not
2
yet,
thing.
all right.
But yeah, that's the straightforward premise, Rem, and I think that's all you need to know. So let's start off Pride Month nice, cleanly, and straightforwardly with one of the prime examples of a Pride Month anime, one that doesn't explicitly say it is, but man, the implications are there. So without further ado, let's go watch some My New Boss is Goofy. And we are back after watching 5 whole episodes of the 2023 anime, My New Boss is Goofy. And Remington, do you think this is a great way to start off Pride Month with ambiguity? Or is this just a funny little show that could be taken in multiple ways? Or is it the worst thing you've ever seen? I don't know. It could go any way. We could be starting off hostile again. I don't know.
It's possible. It's always possible. You say ambiguity? Not really.
What do you mean, Rem? There's no blatant stuff.
Technically speaking, this is an allegory for moving from unhealthy, toxic, abusive relationships into more healthy relationships, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Roughly speaking, it's an allegory. But man, that's a real thin allegory. It's It's kind of like how Zootopia, yeah, it's an allegory for racism. You don't need to squint to see it. You don't need to really be like, oh, what's the deeper meaning? No, it's pretty much like, hey, this is what we're talking about. And you're like, yeah, I know. Yep. Gotcha. To the point where it's like, it would be kind of weird if you didn't think of it that way. Look, my new boss is Goofy. It's all about some real soft boys.
Oh, yeah.
They're soft and they're sincere, and they just want to give and receive care and attention. And I think that, I mean, for some people, just the existence of soft boys is going to be enough.
Yep.
Which some people are like, soft boys, that's all you need to say, motherfucker, and they don't give a shit about literally any criteria.
Soft boys doing soft boy things.
Yeah, so I guess for those people, have at it.
Yep.
I think that overall, this is an interesting show. I do think that some parts are stronger than others.
Okay.
I also don't really see a point of going
episode by episode.
Well, I guess I'll go episode by episode, but like I'm not really going to discuss much of what happens in any given episode, because the little picture details don't matter. Just assume like cute relationship building stuff. The big picture is what matters here.
Okay.
Right? Or at least in terms of discussion, those are the things that are much easier to talk about.
Yeah, like you're not discrediting those things, because that is kind of what a lot of people go for this show for.
Yeah, this is borderline of a vignette short form show. Not completely, but it's in the same ballpark. It's in the same vicinity.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 1, we meet our main characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Momose and Shirasaki. Shirasaki is the boss. Momose is the employee who just switched jobs due to an abusive boss. And hey, if you're in a toxic workplace or relationship or friendship, get the fuck out of there. It's easier said than done, but man, it's also easier than you think it is. It's much easier to do than the like mind cage that has been placed upon you makes it seem.
But it's okay, because you and I have a perfect relationship, don't we, Ram?
Exactly, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we're good buddies.
I think, on a somewhat side note, I think that you and Dylan can both be reasonably represented in this show. And I was thinking about it, I don't think I get good representation. I don't think there's much of a Remington character.
There's not a Remington character, but there's a good Dylan and Shaun character, is what you're saying?
Yeah, there's a Shaun character for sure, and there's I would argue a Dylan character for sure. I think Dylan is just Shirasaki. He's the goofy boss.
Yeah.
I think you're the needy boss.
Excuse you?
We'll get to him. But you're the needy boss, I think. And like, okay, well, that would theoretically put me in the role of Momose, but I'm not really Momose.
No, you're not in like the browbeaten getting out of a bad relationship type of situation. Like,
yeah.
you're very much like more of a rock type character rather than the softest soft boy in the show.
Yeah. Hey, and don't get me wrong, boy oh boy, I've been in some bullshit before. But that's a long time ago. I've been in a happy relationship for fucking years. It's great.
Yeah, and I think I like her more than I like you, honestly.
Shit, same.
Yeah. Oh,
I also like her more than I like myself.
Oh, Remington, no.
Hey, just because I like her a lot, okay? But yeah, unfortunately, no good Remington representation. Well, you know what? I don't know. Maybe the Tsundere cat. We'll touch on them later.
Yeah.
That's the closest I get to representation. So, yeah, the first episode is just building those characters. And Shirasaki, he's the goofy boss. I feel like the translation of goofy is not the right word to use here.
Yeah, it's a bit of a...
I feel like it's misleading.
Yeah, like...
Because it's like, it kind of works, but I think eccentric, weird, even silly, all of those make more sense than goofy.
Yeah, like it was definitely a choice to make it.
Yeah. Because he's not... Goofy is more like class clown. Shirasaki is just very authentically himself, but he's one of those people who's very competent in certain areas and very incompetent or unaware of others. He has blinders on. He has tunnel vision at times.
Mhm.
And that has just a good charm. I like the representation of Shirasaki. And Momose, he doesn't have like anything crazy or tremendously notable about his character, but he's a nice enough soft boy.
Mhm.
And we're rooting for him because he's sympathetic after switching from an abusive job. So it's not, Momose isn't like an insanely amazing character. He's good enough, and that's all he needs to be. He's good enough and was in a rough situation, so we're rooting for him.
Yeah, because we've all been in his situation, unfortunately.
Oh yeah. And so yeah, they bond, and I mean the romantic tension is just obviously there. And it's like, oh shit, this is what it's like to be in in this case, a workplace relationship that isn't abusive and shitty. Like they actually care about me and care about my well-being and like me, and I enjoy spending time with them, and I'm not always stressed. And if you're hearing some of those things and you're like, that's possible for a relationship to not be stressed all of the time, maybe it's maybe it's a little bit of wake-up call. if you're watching this, right,
Watching the sound waves
and you're
move.
like,
Yep.
No, well, if you're watching my new boss is Goofy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I watch anime
And-
with sound waves on just to be safe, you know?
Yeah,
Gotta make
yeah.
sure I'm
If
hearing
you're watching,
things. Gotta have that
if you're
visual
watching
feedback.
it, goddamn, if you're watching this and you're like, wow, what an unreal fantasy. Everybody knows that real relationships are nothing like that. Hey,
Hey, hey,
bud.
hey, buddy.
Like, I'm not saying the details need to be that specific. Like, obviously, this is specifically a soft boy relationship, but the like communication, receiving care and affection, those things, that should be there. That should be there, homie. Every relationship is different in the details, but yeah, you shouldn't be stressed and worried and concerned all the time. It's not healthy. Something's up. Something's awry. Episode 2, we just build more of their relationship. It's more of the same, but hey, it works. It works pretty well. They go to like an amusement park together, and that's nice. And they share a moment together about a planetarium ad, because it's an advertising agency.
Yep.
A planetarium ad that Shirasaki made that had an impact on Momose. And we also see that apart from their just interpersonal relationship, Shirasaki is just a good boss. He leads with empathy, he's hands-on, he's very supportive, and he is aware of the needs of Momose in the workplace. He understands what Momose needs to be pushed forward to succeed, to grow a sense of independence. Obviously, Momose is learning. He's getting used to this environment, getting used to this job, but Shirasaki is like, yeah, I can help you find your footing so that you can become more independent. It's once again, hey, not only is that how to be a leader, that's how to be in a healthy relationship. That's just good advice. A lot of people think that in any position of power, you need to be an asshole to get people to grow and learn things. Nope, that ain't gonna help, bud. That's gonna be counterproductive more times than it's not. And then a lot of other people think that romantic relationships are inherently hierarchical and power plays. Nope, also incorrect. Chill the fuck out.
Yeah, no, like I can have somebody that like steps on me while at the same time treats me as an equal, you know? You can have both.
Yeah.
You can have both.
Yeah, like, hey, there can be some power plays, but like make it emphasis on the play.
Yeah.
If it's consensual, that's fine. But if you're like, I must assert my dominance over them, hey, if that line was meant sincerely rather than in a kinky fashion, don't. Episode 3, we get introduced to a kitten. There's been an abandoned kitten. They adopt it. It's super fucking cute. It also has an internal monologue, which is a little weird, but it's a tsundere cat. But it's so fucking cute. Is just so round, and I like it. I like this cat. It's a cute cat.
Hey.
We also see some like childhood history of Shirasaki where he kind of adopted a tanuki when he was young, thinking it was a cat. And also Shirasaki's grandma does YouTube. So there's just a lot going on here.
Yeah, like it is a very silly little show from time to time.
And I will say, like, I think the humor of this show works pretty well, especially if you're someone like me. In this episode, they perfectly utilized like moe response into humor. So I was already kind of laughing because my moe response. And so when the humor hit, it's like, well, fuck, here you hit me when I'm weak. Good 1-2 punch. I love the cat.
Yep. It is a very good cat. Like, it would fit in the palm of their massive hands if they held it.
Yeah. Now here's the thing, Shaun.
Yeah.
Episodes 4 and 5 are a little bit worse than episodes 1 through 3. They're a little bit worse because we split our focus with 2 other characters who, to put it simply, aren't great. We have the cheap supervisor, can't remember his name, but he's the needy boss, right?
Oh.
And
So, wait, you're saying the character that is most like me is the one that's not great. Interesting. You know, I'm gonna just jot that down for later.
hey man, I don't make the rules. It's weird to have the needy boss in this show because he's kind of needy in a toxic way, and I don't want that in my wholesome soft boy show.
The list is getting longer. Let's see.
Like, if you want to explore a fascinating human story with some drama elements, that's fine. I don't think that's this show. And it's also not what they're trying to do. Like, they kind of present it as being needy is cute in and of itself, and I'm like, no, I don't know. This feels kind of toxic as well. I'm not liking. It's not heavy toxic. It's not the worst. It's not outright acidic. But I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. This ain't right. This ain't fitting. So I don't think it gels particularly well. I also just think he's less interesting. And then we also meet Kinjo. Basically, Kinjo and the needy boss are their own pairing.
Mm-hmm.
And Kinjo.
Yeah, and the needy boss is called Aoyama, by the way.
Cool.
Or Mitsuo.
Kinjo is just the same as Momose. It's just a different palette. Like, it's it's the same character. There's really not much distinction there. He just transferred from an abusive boss. He reacts the same way as Momose does. Sometimes he does different things to Momose, but not in a way where I'm like, wow, that speaks to his character. It's just like, I don't know, I guess one did one thing, the other did the other, just kind of cuz. There's just not a lot of meaningful differentiation between the characters nor the roles they fit within the story. So I don't think this was necessary. I think Momose and Shirasaki, great. That's pretty solid. All right. I think it's cute. It's working. Why split the time to such a degree in episodes 4 and 5 with another relationship, one that is, I would argue, just kind of objectively worse on every metric? It's a weird decision. I don't like it.
You hear that, folks? Remington doesn't like this potential relationship. Man,
I mean,
kind
I
of a thing to say during Pride Month, you know? I don't know if that's appropriate, Rem.
Maybe if they had their own show, then it could be better. But once again, you have a needy character who doesn't quite fit the vibes, and then you have Momose again. And it's like, wait, but why? Why? Like, it needs to do something else. It needs to go a different route. It needs to differentiate itself more. It needs something. As it stands, it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm not boycotting it by any means, but I am like, oh, this is noticeably worse and less interesting.
And you just want to go back to the primary couple.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, why are we wasting our time with this? like, what are we doing?
Broadening our cast of characters, Rem. You can't just have 2 soft boys in a soft boy show.
And I'd be fine with broadening the cast of characters. I don't think this is the way to do it. Like, these characters ain't it. Go back to the drawing board. The cat, I was fine with the cat's introduction. The cat, surprisingly, adds way more than our new soft boy relationship, right? Like, the cat has a different personality and the fact that it's a cat.
Yeah, if this was just a small, another soft boy character, you wouldn't jive with it as much.
If it was just small Momose, I would be complaining.
Also, it would make the whole take home as a pet thing a little bit weird, you know?
a little bit.
Like, the dynamic, it would shift dramatically, I feel.
I will also say, Shaun, that this show, wholesome, lovely, lots of nice messages about wholesome, positive, healthy relationships. But it's a dangerous show.
Oh?
It's a dangerous show. If you are under the age of 14,
Uh-oh.
you're not allowed to watch this show.
Okay, yeah, you know what? Hey, I'm with you on that. I know where you're going. Makes perfect sense to me.
Because not because it has anything graphic or anything.
No.
Certainly not.
Worse.
And no, this isn't a route where it's like, oh, LGBTQ plus themes need to be like kids aren't allowed to see that. No, that's a silly argument. No, the reason why they can't is because if you're young and you watch this show, you're gonna try to emulate these characters, and it's gonna be awful. You're gonna try to be cute and quirky, and oh look, I'm just like Shirasaki, I'm goofy too, and it's going to be horrendous. It's going to be a fucking nightmare, because what works here is like, oh, the authenticity of the character, right? How authentic it is. And so if you are trying to portray that, you're going to be bad and cringe and inauthentic, and it's going to both come across as an act, which it is, and also you're going to regret it. You're going to regret every moment you do that. You're going to lose friends. Don't do it.
Like, hey, I grew up in, the mid 2000s, where a lot of the really bad anime of this kind came out. And I've seen these behaviors live, man. Don't do it.
And similarly, like with Needy Boss, don't be like, oh, it's so cute to be really needy. Oh, didn't you notice that I did this? Oh, thank you so much. Don't do it. Don't, for the love of God. It is a nightmare, both for everybody who has to tolerate it as you're doing it, and it'll be a nightmare for you when you look back on it. So for that reason, I'm adding an age restriction, all right? Just for their sake, all right? It's just, if you're the type who's like, hey, I don't do that shit anyway, thank God, first of all. But second of all, okay, sure, go watch it, you surprisingly self-aware teenager. But otherwise, stop.
Like, the amount of nights, like, mistakes have kept me up at night for just things of that nature, and watching other people make the same mistakes. It's like, you don't need the stress. Trust me.
Yeah. It's so that's my PSA. That's why I think that this is a potentially dangerous show, because it lures you in with its charm, and then you're like, oh man, because I also want this wholesome care and affection. If I display this is how I get it, right? No! No. Just, once again, it's going to be cliche, but also it's like a message from the show itself. You got to embrace yourself and like work on bettering yourself as well. That's always good. But embrace yourself. Recognize a certain authenticity.
Media literacy. Media literacy is very important.
Media literacy also valuable. Yeah. But if here's the thing, guys. If you just generally be yourself, then you might be worried, well, then these handful of people might like you less. Sure. But then all the people that do like you don't need to worry about whether they actually like you or they like the weird persona you're putting on. Of course they like you, because that's all you're giving to them, right? You don't need to, it's so much less stressful. So yeah, it sounds simple, and it's not easy, but it is simple. Just be generally authentic, work on improving yourself, get some self-awareness, and for the love of God, don't emulate these characters, because it's so rough trying to be a poser for authenticity. Like, it is, oh man, it doesn't work. It does not work.
No. But it's a cute show and very fun to watch. If you can get past that, then yeah, you're great.
It is a cute show, 100%. I think that it doesn't do a lot that's like insanely special or interesting, but the core relationship is a really good one that I think audiences are set to root for, which is more than the vast majority of romances that we've seen on this podcast. The secondary romance, it's not even actively that bad. It's just objectively worse than the main one, and because it's in the same show, you can draw direct comparisons.
Yeah.
So it feels like a cheap knockoff.
Yeah, but I do want to emphasize, Remington, not a romance show.
Oh, okay. Sure. Excuse me, Zootopia ain't political. What are you talking about? It's a story about a rabbit and a fox. It don't make it. What are you talking about? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I get you.
Oh, God.
I understand.
What was that media literacy conversation again? Oh, God. And this might actually shock you a little bit. This is a web manga adaptation.
That doesn't shock me at all. That's the most predictable thing in the world. I'm surprised I didn't mention it.
Yeah.
Because I think one of my notes has something down that line. Yes, yes. So something that kind of gives it away, right?
Right.
Is how often it says the line, "My new boss is Goofy."
Yeah. It's got that.
In a little like webcomic type deal, it can just be like you're closing, and that makes sense, or something where you're like, you gotta get the line in.
Yeah,
or the opening. But in a show, repeating it multiple times per episode, you're like, is that necessary? Is that strictly important? So yeah, it. I don't think that's very hidden.
Look, I just thought that we'd start Pride month off with a little bit of subtlety, you know? Like,
Yeah.
You gotta ease people into these things, you know? You can't throw the Junjo Romanticas at the start of things, otherwise you're gonna scare people away, you know? You gotta ease them in with the quote unquote ambiguous soft boy show. You know, it's not a they were roommates, it's a they were coworkers situation, you know?
Yeah, there you go.
But by and large, it seems like a pretty positive start to the month, Remington.
Yeah, much better than some previous years where perhaps a certain individual's judgment wasn't as strong in the selections that were made.
Okay, you cannot blame me for this.
So we're starting strong. I'm agreeing with you.
Mm-hmm.
This is me agreeing with you.
Well, we'll have to see what you think after next week.
Oh, no, what the hell? Oh, no. What the fuck?
Well, look, man. Last year, I did nothing but...
I hate it. I hate it when you foreshadow shit, especially like that, because then I'm like, oh, he means it. I'm fucked.
Not always, Rem. Sometimes I'm just joshing you.
I don't know if you've ever just been joshing me with, like, foreshadowing that blatant. I don't think it
Look,
really
all
happens.
I'm saying is, last year I was goddamn determined to give a bunch of quality and requests based on our listenership. And it didn't work out. Now we're
off the rails.
It didn't work out. It didn't work out. So this year, I'm just gonna look. I'm spicing up the mix a little bit. You know, not gonna go for all the bangers. Gonna go for a little bit of everything. You know.
Sure.
A Yowie trail mix, if you will.
Oh man. All right. Well, we'll see you next week.
Yeah. So, but before that, Rem, what's the Mal score?
Oh man. Okay, I think it's gonna be high. Does it break 8? It's gonna be close. Well, people do love their soft boys. It could be.
It's like, ooh, the call of the soft boy is strong.
Genuinely, I had a number in mind, but I'm like, I don't know if I was adequately weighing the soft boy passion. Am I gonna let the soft boy passion change my initial reading that much? I might. 8.08.
Okay. Well, Remington, my new boss is Goofy. Has a total of 19.4 thousand ratings. So on the lower end, which, that's to be expected, right? It's definitely got its target audience, and not everybody is going to jump on that, like, especially not like mainstream anime folk. Sure. By the way, for those who are like, why do you keep reviewing weird niche stuff? I'm like, because some of it's very good. And
I mean, well, I think that's something very positive about our podcast, is that we'll touch on the heavy hitters, but we'll also touch some hidden gems. We're a fucking grab bag, all right?
Yeah.
We're a goddamn grab bag, and thank God for that.
Yeah, we got to keep things interesting for both the audience and Remington.
Ain't that the truth?
But with those 19.4 thousand ratings, my new boss is Goofy is sitting nice and pretty at 7.96.
Oh, you have no reason to believe this.
Yeah.
I raised my score by 0.1 because of the soft boy quotient. And even as I was questioning it, and I shouldn't have done that, evidently.
Yeah, well, hey.
I wouldn't have got it spot on, but I would have been much closer.
Like, it's still a relatively recent show, right? It came out in fall of 2023. So, like, give this a year or two, and the people out there who want the good soft boy shows will probably come back to this one and be like, oh, man, this is a good one. Let's bump up that rating a bit. Yeah.
It teaches me, hey, I've learned something, all right?
Yeah.
Previously, I didn't know how to weigh the soft boy quotient. Now I do. Now I'm more aware.
Now you do. Until the soft boy quotient does fuck you up again.
Oh man, we'll see.
Yeah, because like genuinely, the scale of how people scored this show is very top heavy. Very top heavy.
Oh yeah.
Like, not many people gave this show a bad score because, I mean, like, why would they? Like, the people going into the show have a good idea of what they want, and they're gonna get it in spades for the most part.
Yeah. Like if you're watching this show, like it's pretty apparent what you're gonna get.
Yeah. And, like, even if you're not usually into these kinds of shows, maybe this is a fun little show to just take the edge off of your horrifically dramatic, violent anime that you've been watching lately.
Yeah.
Or reading in some cases. I know the Jujutsu Kaisen fans are kind of in a frenzy as of late. And trust me, Rem, you do not want to be a part of that discourse because ever since Attack on Titan ended, like, the fans have scattered and are trying to find a new place to go and be toxic, and Jujutsu Kaisen does seem to be one of the places they've landed, unfortunately.
Well, let me say unequivocally, they're wrong and stupid for their emotional claims, regardless of what they are.
Yes, there's the conflict. There it is.
I want to make a blind hot take. I want to...
Okay. Blind hot take.
I like throwing hot takes into the shadows and
the true fans who listen through the whole podcast, like up to the end of it, will know what kind of spicy hot takes Mr. Remington has.
Is the drama for Jujutsu Kaisen, is it like a controversy like X versus Y more or less? Are there two sides of the coin?
So essentially it's a case of,
is it something where I can controversially side with one without being informed about it?
It's really a case of whether or not killing a certain character was a good idea.
I think it was.
Okay.
That's my stance. I think it was. Look, it helps move the story forward. Guys, I know, look, the fact that it's happened the way it did, that's what makes it impactful and meaningful. So I support it, and I will not take questions or complaints.
Oh god, I cannot wait for that to get adapted into anime and we do one or two revisits and get to that point. That would be great. That'd be wonderful. Because, like, god. Yeah, with that in mind, I guess the final question is, Rem, any chance you'd want to just watch a little bit more of My New Boss is Goofy?
I don't know if it's like a main monitor watch, but I think like having it on in the background and just enjoying it occasionally, like, oh yeah, for sure.
And it's a tight 12 episodes, so, you know, we can get through it pretty quick. But with that in mind, thank you all so much for tuning in. If you enjoy us celebrating Pride Month properly this year, then please head on over to wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. They mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. But if that is not enough for you, you can head on over to twitch.tv/animeoutofcontext, where myself, Dylan, and Remington occasionally play video games very poorly. And if that is still not enough for you, patreon.com/animeoutofcontext, where you gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including having the opportunity to be thanked live on the podcast. So, Rem, who we thanking this week?
As always, we would like to send our regards to our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we move to our yandere waifus, who are just blatantly abusing us in the workplace. And on that list, we have Zombie Stomp. I'm awful right now. Xanax, y'all should watch Blue Period, has a femboy artist. You've heard of Spoon Man, but what about Cappy Man, the capybara that steals your butt balls? Yandere Neko, Yams and Eggfest, Why Shaun, where's our DBZ review, you ginger fuck? Wes Kane, watching Requiem for Spoon Man at 0.5 speed. Viva la Haruhi Revolution, call to arms, fellow worshippers of Haruhiism. Utah #1, Unhinged Tracks. Totally God's Angel, Titan CNH. This show was employed to get the mayor to be the mayor of Goontown. The Susanator, the Spoon Man, nah, that's the Shaun Man. The Pocket Big Hole, wait, that's Shaun's Big Hole.
I beg your pardon?
The Patreon is on a mission to force a running gag better than Rem, the flying spaghetti monster. The Danish Viking will conquer the world with Roro Zoro as my navigator. Turban, Super Zoo, Stacy's mom, Spoonman, Fighter of the Knife Man, Spoonman wants to go Nico knee deep in Rem's big hole, respectfully. Snaky Pie, Shrek is love, Shrek is life. Shaun wants to give Spoonman a thank and yank. Shaun, we must drop kick some devils. Shaun ruined my happy sugar life when he made my tummy so big and round. It hurt so bad, please let me see a doctor. I can't take it. Shaun had a lass that could go all night, but he got out of breath when he had to blow her up. Shaun can do these nuts. Sorry from the shark plushie. Sequoia Kai, that's what she said. Say hi to that guy's fiance. I think it's Haley. Sammy K as the Post-Con Blues. Animazement 2024 was awesome. Can't wait for next year. Ross Palmer, Rhiannon Williams. Remington needs to rewatch Attack on Titan at 0.75 speed to pay for his sins. Remington is right. Rem uses the drums of liberation to free all weeps from bad anime. Rem hit rock bottom, is still on top of Shaun. Rem doesn't completely hate my favorite shows. Pro tips out of context. The next time someone tells you the government wouldn't do that, oh yes they would, they already have. Professor Fox, Pacquiao Musico, Oni Chi Chi, 10 out of 10 family show. No waifu, no waifu. Nick, Necker Dancer 1415. Mysterious Girlfriend Next would be a wild episode. Musical episode guides here with Spoonman to say thanks for the second musical episode. Mikasa Tsukasa, Mikeka 7 Hierto. Making fake mal count so I can rate Forest Fire 5 10 out of 10. Macaroni U cheese ha. Listening to the pod, straight up remming it, and by it, well, let's just say my Shaun. Link to Joe Curl, Kylo, King Rich Rock, Cassidy, Jergidius, Jax, Jam Hands. Insert Rem supernatural genre hate speech. Wait for the next fucking pre-banter, you sons of bitches.
God, I love that started such a fucking discourse.
The discourse ends with the next pre-banter. Icon Scout, I will never get more Ace of the Diamond, now I cry. I tried manscaping with a straight edge razor. I can't believe I made an account for this. Glitter Force is best magical girl anime. Glenn Michael Dolan, Ginger Weeb, from the guy who did the thing that one time. Farmer Weeb's double feature of the week, The Passion of Christ, and You Don't Mess with the Zohan. Fantide, Erica McCorkle, Dylan Spoonman is polyamorous and is wondering if you want to be the middle spoon with himself and Shaun. Dwayne The Rock Johnson in a fursuit. Sir Pixian Worshipper. Danielle Riot, Daddy Rem Tell Me a Bedtime Story. Daddy Dylan's New Landlord. Cheese Monkey, Cat Girls Are Best Girls to give them cute little paws. Rock hard for Geodudes. Join the Anime Out of Context Patreon to get your name read aloud by Ad Cut Short. Blake Star, Bert Bartholomew Flem, Bento Kato, a bi girl seeking tickets to Yam Fest. Been a while since I've changed my name on here, but I got a third 4.0. Can't believe it. I'm also changing my major from funeral. Batman couldn't hate fuck that information out of me. Are we all in our cum era? And every day that Raven comes to visit. Amazing Muffin, All Hail Pee Philosopher King, AJ Tunnels, Aisha Gutchi, Amoe Piece of Trash, and Dot. Now we move on to the Yandere. Oh wait, after Dot. Oh my god, there's one more after Dot. I'm so used to Dot being the last one.
I mean, yeah.
Look, Dot has been the last one for a hot minute. They are, after all, just a period.
Yep.
But now, are you sure a pinky promise isn't a vow to kill a My Little Pony? Asks Misaka with honest confusion. And now we move on to the Boy Wizard tier. And Shaun, what are they gonna get this week?
You know, that's a good question, Rep. Let's see. I've got two paths I can go by. But in the long run, there's still time to change the road I'm on. Let's see. Are we thinking more soft or more office jobs?
I don't know, do office jobs, why not?
Okay, sure. Everybody's gonna get a lovely little office job.
That'll be healthy, wholesome, and very soft.
Yes.
We start with week 4 asking for a Darling in the Franks review.
Accountant.
Vincent Calabrese.
Let's see. Advertisement agency.
That Mouse Girl.
Just a general office manager.
Tails Williams is mourning over Jones' death.
Receptionist.
That has to be the Kaizen thing, right? That has to be it.
Sorry, I blanked out on when you said the name.
Well, I won't even tell you. I just feel like it's got to be it because it's relevant. I'm smart enough to make connections. I got a brain. Sporadic Silver.
An account manager.
Silent Secondary.
A data entry clerk.
Shaun loved being episode cucked by Rare Kumiko.
A referral coordinator.
Scourge, best $20 spent, LMAO.
Let's see. A subcontractor.
Rose Cop.
An administrator.
Remington Chase's laugh is my favorite sound.
An analyst.
Rare Kumiko.
Customer service relationship coordinator.
Please show Rem the new train anime from this season, Rare Kumiko.
Tech support.
Nightshade Blade wants to gush over magical girls.
An auditor.
Nether Abervarin Sie schon mal in Baden-Württemberg.
Payroll manager.
Monogatari is a fun story about chasing down the apparitions with a bit of romance and sometimes can get horrifically fucked.
A financial planner.
Mike.
A credit analyst.
Miguel De Leon.
I mean, I guess that technically counts. An officer.
Latino's 428th anime at 21 was Mashal. Bling Bang Bang Repeat X3 Born. Shaun Rollins 2024.
An administrator.
It's just that spy guy.
General counsel.
If I write a short fan fiction with Shaun and Margaret Thatcher, will you read it on a pre-banter? Yes, and if
don't make that promise. Do not make that promise.
For extra credit, make it a choose your own adventures.
No, do not put that on them.
What do you get, Shaun?
Fucking arbitrator.
I, Rare Go, will continue to support the show with multiple accounts.
A mediator.
I ran out of funny quips, so I'll just make you say cunt weekly.
Legal aid.
Gundam when?
Legal secretary.
Go to www.moe.u. Gay.moe, you will love it, says Rare Kumiko.
Brand manager.
Drew asks, to pui pui or not to pui pui?
A marketing coordinator.
Decade 1 of all father-making Patreon accounts until Shaun shows Remington Dragon Pilot.
An SEO specialist.
Crosskirk.
Marketing assistant.
Crimson Reapers, just because of the sides.
Okay, I promise this one isn't just a porn star. A digital content specialist.
Oh, man. Hey, that's what we are, baby.
Yep.
Cover 271.
A copywriter.
Blood cell there to remind you that white blood cells are inferior. You need the red ones to thank and yank anyways.
Publicist.
Beethoven 1201.
External communications director.
Anonymous.
And a materials manager.
Anime mashup of the week. Food und Panzers.
Sales representative.
Animated Z.
Account executive.
Now we move on to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where both Shaun and I will each give you one half of your ideal relationship through a fictional character. So we each give a fictional character, right? As Joey Wheeler, obviously. And whatever kind of relationship those two characters would have, that is your ideal relationship.
They have to fill in the blanks themselves as to what kind of relationship it would be. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
Look, we're creating new ships is what we're doing.
New ships that aren't just like in the ether. They are describing our lovely, inappropriate Joey Wheeler patrons.
Okay.
And their ideal relationship. We start with Rowdy-O.
The first half of yours is Goku.
And Jason Voorhees. I don't know how that one goes, I'll be honest.
Look, all I'm saying is that a key to a good relationship is communication, you know? And Jason isn't really the best at that.
Next we got never expected to hear better to ask for forgiveness than permission while dissecting a cow eye.
Took a second to process that. Joey Wheeler.
And Atticus Finch.
Curious.
I mean, I see a world of this working. Both are passionate.
Yeah, I mean, like
both are passionate and refine their skills.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the goofy versus serious dynamic, you know?
I think it could work. Ihr wollt mein Schatz, den könnt ihr haben.
Alucard, let you decide which one in your head.
And Bilbo Baggins. I will know if it isn't obvious already. I have mine in mind before you even say yours.
Yeah, I can tell.
Next we got my dear old mom.
Chandler from Friends.
And Mickey Mouse.
Oh, God.
And last but not least, we got Blue Baron 15.
Let's go with Lady Demetresque.
And that one is going to be combined with Macbeth.
Tragic.
Hell of a pairing. That one is a very powerful pairing, you know? That one got a lot of force behind it.
Yeah, if anything, Lady Demetresque won't mind having that spot.
You know what? Let's instead of Macbeth, let's do Lady Macbeth, all right? Let's just...
Okay, yeah, you know what?
Two
it's pride.
powerful, unhinged women.
Yes.
Put together. A match made in heaven.
I'd read that fan fiction.
Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out, whether it's for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can tweet us at AnimeConPod on Twitter or send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love you all very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister.
Do 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 do.